Hey everybody, this is Deedley from the Project 1999 Green server, making another short video about barred kiting. The subject of this video is the songs that you use for barred kiting, and just a little brief discussion of the mechanics of the songs and stuff like that. Maybe some recommendations for other songs to have in your bar when you're barred kiting, and should be pretty brief. So the four songs that you're going to want to use when you're barred kiting are the level 59 stringed instrument song, Denon's Bereavement, the level 18 brass instrument song, Denon's Disruptive Discord, and the level 48 stringed instrument song, Selo's Chords of Cessation, and then the level 2 stringed instrument song, Chords of Dissonance. So in this order, Denon's Bereavement, level 59, does 30 damage per tick without an instrument. Uh, Denon's Disruptive Discord does 19 damage per tick at level 60. It does 8 damage per tick when you get it at level 18. Again, this is without an instrument. Selo's Chords of Cessation, it does 32 damage per tick at level 60. It does 26 damage per tick at level 48 when you get it. And Chords of Dissonance, level 2 song, does 2 damage per tick when you get it at level 2, and it does 17 damage per tick at level 60. In the same order, the ranges of these songs are 35 for Denon's Bereavement, 35 for Denon's Disruptive Discord, and 30 for Selo's Chords of Cessation, and 30 for Chords of Dissonance. And that 5 range difference is actually very noticeable when you are kiting. You will notice that it is much easier to land Denon's Bereavement and Denon's Disruptive Discord on monsters while you're running around than it is to land Selo's Chords of Cessation and Chords of Dissonance. So when I am kiting, I try to make sure that I absolutely get Denon's Bereavement and Denon's Disruptive Discord to land because they're kind of like easy gets. And then, if I get those, then I will try to land Denon's Selo's Chords of Cessation and Chords of Dissonance. So all those damage figures that I gave you are like base damage numbers. They will be increased if you use an appropriate instrument, a stringed instrument for, Denon's Bereavement, Selo's Chords of Cessation, and Chords of Dissonance, and a brass instrument for Denon's Disruptive Discord. The increase is going to be proportional to your weapons or your instrument's instrument modifier. So, for example, I have a lute of the Gypsy Princess, and its modifier is 21. So, any of those damage numbers will be increased by 2.1. I'm not really sure if they take the ceiling or the floor, or if they round, or how the non-integer like floating point stuff kind of works out. But it's definitely worth having the right instrument out when you are doing these songs, and it's worth doing that. I will say though, some people will, twist in, get the horn for when they play Denon's Disruptive Discord. Personally, I just keep my lute equipped the whole time because sometimes, the mouse look button will kind of lock out after you swap your instruments for a brief moment, and that has gotten me in trouble in tight spaces before, so I just kind of ignore it. Some other songs that you may want to use, like in this scenario, would include Selo's Assonant Strane, which is the level 54 AE snare song. It's really helpful for like getting a group of monsters and slowing them down and pulling them over a PBAE class that is nuking all of the monsters that you're trying to kill if you're working together. But I would advise you that this song overwrites Selo's Chords of Cessation. They don't stack. And so this one takes precedence over, like Selo's Assonant Strane takes precedence over Selo's Chords of Cessation. And you just have to know that when you're doing your twisting. Some other songs that are really useful when you're barred kiting or like, in the setup when you're doing your pull and stuff are going to be Selo's Accelerando and Selo's Song of Travel, and also the Tuyens lines of dot single target dot songs. Um, Selo's Accelerando is just a run speed song, and it's a percussion song, so you want to have your drum out. Or, I mean, you still go really fast if you don't have your drum out, but, you go even faster with it out. The difference between these songs is, of course, that um, Selo's is just a run speed buff. Selo's Accelerando is just a run speed buff, while Selo's Song of Travel is actually a run speed buff, a levitate, and an invis, which is really helpful when you're actually traveling. But I really, I use it sometimes if I'm pulling a kite, but a lot of times I will just use Selo's Accelerando because if anything like hits you or casts on you, or you begin to cast a song or do pretty much anything with the travel song up, you will lose your invis and you also lose your levitate and your run speed at the same time. So um, I wouldn't recommend that. But the solution to that for me is to just use my um, singing steel boots or Peggy cloak to levitate, and probably like chug a soap pot while I'm pulling just to stay kind of nimble. So I mentioned the Tuyen songs previously, I believe. If I didn't, I apologize. But the Tuyen songs are really helpful for pulling because it's a single target, high range. I believe it has 200 range, and it's just really good for pulling monsters while you're running around, and costs no mana since you're a bard, and you can move while you're casting it. So it's just really great. Another couple of songs that you may want to keep in mind would be, of course, Hymn of Restoration, the level 2 song. It can be helpful if you kind of get in a bind where um, a lot of monsters or some monsters tag you and you lose health and you want to regenerate without zoning or anything like that. And the level 60 invulnerability song, Kazumi's Note of Preservation, it's like an 18-second invulnerability song that's castable every 3 minutes, and it can be really useful for if you're kind of having some pathing issues and you pull, a gang of monsters on top of yourself or into your own path and you have to run through them. You can just drop that and go through them and not have any issues. So trying to keep these videos kind of brief and chunked up. So I'm gonna stop here and do the next video about, I don't know, like the particulars of how to do the kite when you have all your mobs pulled. It can be a little tricky and requires a lot of practice. So until then, hope you guys have a good day. Bye.